Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Now, Bob Arum has explained that he is 95% sure that Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury happens, and they are ready to go to contracts and sign within 2 weeks. This is what Bob Arum had to say. I don't want to make a deadline, but I just can report that everything so far is going splendidly, and we hope to have a signed document within the next couple of weeks. That might not provide for the site, because again, we can have a document that both fighters would have signed and everything, and then have a mutual agreement clause of the site. We're all on the same page as far as I can see. I'm 95% confident the fight happens, and 100% confident that my guy wins, and wins by knockout. So there we go, that is what Bob Arum has had to say about this fight and where they are currently at with regards to negotiations. In fact, I think that negotiations are probably done by now. I think that most things would have been sorted out. They probably know what is going to happen with this mediation between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. They also have a plan for Alexander Usyk, and the plan is simple. Go to the WBO, ask for an exception. If they say no, offer Usyk some step-aside money. If he says no, then vacate the belt. That's the way it seems to go with regards to that WBO mandatory and the whole situation. So it does seem like within 2 weeks, this fight could be signed and sealed, and we could have a date. So I think that the biggest stumbling block at the moment, or not a stumbling block, but the one thing they have to straighten out, is where does the fight happen? There have been many different locations that have been thrown up, even China, America, Singapore, Saudi Arabia, Dubai. So of course there are places that would want to stage this fight, and there are many options, because if they can get a site fee, then they will go to the highest bidder. I think it's going to be Saudi. That is the most likely, purely because there is a previous relationship between them and Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing and Anthony Joshua as well. So that seems the most viable option. They have put up money before for AJ versus Ruiz, so they will likely do it again for Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury, although this one would be a lot bigger. Even though AJ Ruiz was big enough, this one is for the undisputed championship in the heavyweight division. Maybe there could be one belt missing from that collection, and it would be the WBO if that is the case, but we know it's for number 1. So that would take a little bit of shine away, but it's about the fight. That is the most important thing. So as long as the fight happens, it doesn't matter so much about the belts, because they are on the outside of the ring. It is the fighters going into the ring that truly matters. And it does seem like this one is going to go ahead next. Now, could there be any other stumbling blocks other than the site? I don't believe so. I don't believe the Deontay Wilder situation will cause any problems, because if it was going to, it would have by now. So considering they believe they are, 90 in the opinion of Eddie Hearn and 95 in the opinion of Bob Arum, then this fight should be going ahead. And both parties seem to be determined that it does. With the situation between Tyson Fury and Wilder, and Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk, they are finding solutions, because the biggest problem, even that was alluded to by Bob Arum, which isn't even a problem, is the site. I mean, none of those places mentioned by Eddie Hearn would say, no, we don't want the fight. They're obviously going to want it. I believe that the fight shouldn't happen in the US necessarily, because I think that it's 2 Brits, so why would they go over to America and fight over there? If they're going to do it anywhere, it should be in the UK, as opposed to America. But if they do, they do. If the fight happens there, then that's what happens. If that's what it takes to make the fight happen, I think that we're not going to be over the moon, because it's not primetime UK and it's 2 Brits for the undisputed heavyweight world championship, and they're fighting on a US time zone, so that doesn't really work well for this undisputed fight being between 2 Brits. If it's in somewhere like Saudi Arabia, then that would cater a lot better to a UK time zone. Now, of course, they can do it in America and have it on a UK time zone, but considering the broadcasters in the US of Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, which is DAZN and ESPN, they're going to want it primetime US, not primetime UK. So that is what will happen if the fight does go to America. I would say it wouldn't. I think that Saudi is the place where it will go. If not there, then somewhere else. And I believe they will work towards a UK time zone for the fight to take place, which is what should happen. Now, of course, for this fight to be labelled as undisputed, that WBO title does need to be on the line. So that does leave Alexander Usyk with a very good position to be in, because he is the reason that could prevent it from being undisputed or make this fight undisputed. So he can step aside, take some money and wait. But then again, he is mandatory. he deserves his opportunity. So you could not blame him for saying, nope, I want my opportunity. I waited and fought Derek Chisora while Anthony Joshua fought Kubrat Pulev. I'm not waiting again. I want my chance. So we could understand that. We have to. He is mandatory after all. But if he does step aside, then that makes this undisputed. Now, recently his promoter and manager said that he's not stepping aside. He's never even thought about doing that, and they've never held talks with regards to that happening. But then again, he's going to say that. Don't be too disheartened with those kind of talks from his promoter, because he's not going to say we want to step aside. Yeah, let's let Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua fight. He's not going to say that because they won't get more money then. They'll get less money. They'll lowball them. That's what they'll do. So he's saying that so that they are in a stronger position going into negotiations to step aside for this fight. And those conversations still need to be had, and I believe that even on the other side, Deontay Wilder, even if he were to get the opportunity to fight Tyson Fury, do we really believe he's going to take it, considering he had the chance in July, but then said he couldn't because of an injury? Then he was given the chance in October, but again, still didn't take the fight, according to Tyson Fury, mind you, so we don't know too much about that information just yet because it is only coming from one side, but still, if that was him, then he didn't take the fight in December either, so that has to make you question as to, does he really want the fight, or does he just want to get some step-aside money to allow Tyson Fury to go and fight Anthony Joshua, and still get a guarantee to fight the winner down the line? That could be some kind of motive behind the scenes for Deontay Wilder and his team, but with regards to negotiations for Usyk, which is a mandated fight for Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder isn't at the moment, but considering Usyk is a mandatory, then they can go to the WBO and ask for an exception to make a unification fight, and the WBO have already said that they will stand strong with their position. After the Pulev fight, they did explain that Eddie Hearn knows what a commitment is, especially a mandatory commitment, so that does kind of tell you that they are going to enforce their mandatory on Anthony Joshua, meaning AJ must go to Usyk and ask him to step aside. Failing that, then the belt has to be vacated to make this fight happen. And considering we could be just 2 weeks away from a signed deal between these two, then it does seem that if that does need to happen, then it will. The main thing that tells us that this fight is going to happen, and it will likely happen next, is there is a positive coming from both parties. So Eddie Hearn is saying that the fight is 90% done. Bob Arum is going further as to saying the fight is 95% done. So there is positivity coming from both camps, so clearly they are working towards making this fight happen. The only thing at the moment that still remains to be tied up is the site, but Bob Arum has explained they can get the deal done, signed and sealed, but the site can be agreed just after that because that will be put into the contract. Whether it's Saudi Arabia, whether it's Dubai, it doesn't matter. This fight will go ahead. It won't be UK, it will be somewhere else, but as long as it is on a UK time zone, then it doesn't really matter. Even in the event that they do take it to America, that should still remain, but I don't believe they will. I think that they will go somewhere where they can get a site fee. They won't likely get that in the US, but they will, somewhere like Saudi Arabia. Guys, anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below, leave a thumbs up, and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.